Hi, my name is Luke Chotai, and this is my HCI Assignment 1 NeedFinding Presentation. These are the topics I'm going to discuss today. I'll start off by briefly introducing the product of my design so that you're able to get an understanding of the nature of the presentation. Next, I'll go over the need finding methodology, which shows who the audience I targeted were, why I chose them, and how I got the information needed from them. I'll then move on to the results gathered from the surveys and interviews. The analysis report is the visual representation of the data gathered. Next is the empathy map. This will show us the comparison of what the audience has said versus what they actually do. And to end the presentation, I'll summarize the main ideas and findings found throughout the presentation. My product introduction. The product I decided to propose is a newly modeled and improved multi-purpose home security system. Now, I know what you're thinking. You hear home security system and you instantly think cameras, alarms, and so on, because that's exactly what it is. But what if instead of all of these devices, there was one device to do it all? With the introduction and development of the smartphone, we were able to combine things like calculators, calendars, flashlights, alarm clocks, cameras, and much more into a single device that we carry around in our pockets. This small rectangular device is a smartphone of the security department. By being able to attach onto flat surfaces such as doors and windows, and its built-in features such as motion detection, a fisheye lens, and speakers enabling alarm features, it is now the best-selling product on the market. Need finding methodology. These are the guidelines that will help identify the best users to interview and gather their thoughts on the situation. The who, why, how, and where. After consulting these guidelines, I decided that homeowners between the ages of 30 and 50 would yield the best results needed to achieve my need finding goals. I contacted these persons over the phone and were able to get them to take part in the survey. From the group, I selected 4 individuals to interview over a video call to get a more in-depth experience of their responses. Here's some quick background information on the individuals. These are some of the questions I asked during the interview. I mainly wanted to know whether they were aware of their daily or weekly routine, did they own any form of home security equipment, and how often were they away from home. The survey was more detailed and consisted of more questions, such as how often do you change the locks and keys around your home? Is there a watch program in your neighborhood? And is the exterior of your home and surroundings well lit at night? The responses from the interviewed individuals lacked the expected variety, but rather showed similarities in their situations, which was useful in its own way. Ralph mentioned that he has owned security devices in the past, but they were at the point of expiration. He has yet to replace them and instead is using them as a scarecrow. Fiona stated that her main protection around the house are her pet dogs. She's never considered getting additional security. Stacy said that because she recently moved in, she hasn't gotten any security. Jake admitted that while he doesn't own any security, he has made attempts into getting something affordable. After collecting, sifting through, and organizing the information collected from the survey sent out, I was able to represent the responses into 2 main pie charts. The first chart shows that 33% of the responders were unaware of the things they did on a weekly to daily routine. 7% admitted to not even knowing they had a routine prior to taking the survey, while 44% of the survey said to have been away from their homes for long periods of times, and the remaining 16% stated to rely on pets to scare off intruders. Now, these kind of patterns can be monitored and used against you. For example, if someone knows you go grocery shopping every Thursday from 7 to 8, that would be their best chance for them to make an attempt on your home. The second chart showed the individuals who did not purchase or update any existing security. It also showed that 21% of persons have experienced a break-in, with the remaining 13% luckily never have experienced a break-in. The empathy map. The contradictions of what we say versus what we actually do, how we think and how we feel. It's always easy to simply move our lips to say something, but it's actions behind our words that make them meaningful. Some of the things mentioned by the individuals interviewed were, "Mine isn't working," or "I had one, but I don't have one anymore." There were even verbal procrastinations like, "I'll come around to it," or "maybe tomorrow." They would admit that despite what they say, they ignore ads related to security devices with the excuse of not enough time on hand or simply postponing the date to go and buy it. They would rather risk the lack of security despite saying that they would make an effort to go get one. There were claims of having thoughts of at least getting something installed as a placeholder, as well as the occasional thought of something out of the ordinary happening. They even said that they would feel worried while away from home for extended periods of time. Even while home, the fact that they were without security would make them feel insecure and nervous at times. Before the presentation ends, I'd like to give a brief recap of what was discussed. I started off with the introduction of the device I designed and some of its capabilities. Then the need finding methodology was discussed, showing why the persons that took place in the survey and interviews were chosen in the first place, and how the information was collected. Next, I moved on to the results of the interview and surveys, reflecting on the responses that stood out from the rest. Following, the analysis report gave an accurate visual representation of the responses. Finally, I moved on to the empathy map, which shows that despite what we say and think, our actions may not always reflect them. I'll close off by sharing my thoughts I came across as I did this assignment. We all admit and agree that our security is important, yet our actions say otherwise, with the lack of a motivation to set our words into motion. How long will we wait and feel insecure, when the only thing preventing us from the security we deserve is ourselves? This has been my HCI Assignment 1 Need Finding Presentation.